Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Fico, and welcome to another Investigating True Gaming. This is where I go to the r/True Gaming subreddit, which is a subreddit that's dedicated to meaningful, insightful, and high-quality discussion on all topics gaming. This is the 10th time that I'm doing this, and I figured we go back to 10 years old as we go in, and this was submitted not that long ago, and basically we're going to be regressing back to childhood as Mr. SB1001 asks, I often wonder if your childhood self were to play the games today or look at them and see the video game industry as today, what would your younger self think? It would be interesting to hear some perspectives from someone from the 80s. Oh, that's me taking a sip of water. Let's say you're a childhood as of the age of 10. So let's subtract, shall we? That would be 1992, and I don't remember what grade I was. I don't know if the Super Nintendo was out, but let's just put it to you this way. When I was 10, the concept of 3D graphics was just something that was a little alien to me, and let me tell you, I was just enjoying the living hell out of everything. But let me tell you something, 10-year-old me, if you put him in a small pod and you bring him to what we are currently dealing with in the gaming industry now, I would think that little old me might have a few things to say. So little old me kind of sort of divided things down to to a bad column and a good column. So basically, here we go. Now, little old me would not like the state of games that are broken when he should be getting excited about seeing Batman, one of his favorite superheroes, get made the way that it's being made now by Rocksteady. I think his 10-year-old heart would have been heartbroken when he finally got the money to buy the game, and then Steam took it off of their store because the game was broken. Broken games that come out at launch, definitely. Now notice that I'm not going to talk about these too much because these are all subjects on their own that I could be talking about, but he wouldn't be happy. 10-year-old me would not be happy about how bad the DLC market is, on how games basically come with things missing in them, and then later you find out that some of these things were in the disc, but you had to pay for them in order to unlock them. Some people making deals by getting stuff taken out of the game to offer it as exclusive DLC to a different location. I think 10-year-old me would be crying that his friends would be playing the game exclusive stuff that GameStop had, and I wouldn't have a GameStop nearby me to be able to get that stuff. So 10-year-old me, I understand. You could totally cry because the DLC is just sad. I would totally be upset with publishers. I think that publishers have sort of taken this mantle of awesomeness. We are the greatest thing ever. You know, I'm looking at EA, at Ubisoft, at Konami, at Activision, and I'm looking at all of these companies as an adult. I despise them. As a 10-year-old, if I found out all of these things as a 10-year-old, I would literally go ask my dad to take me to their headquarters just so that I could piss on the welcome sign they have on their building. I would totally do that because that is the only thing that these companies deserve from me because of their practices. Now, journalist corruption. 10-year-old me was enjoying reading Nintendo Power, reading the comics, looking at the tips, hoping to win one of those contests and I would never win. Now imagine if 10-year-old me was told that games are being rated higher because the magazine and the writers had an agreement with the company to have this tag team in which they would totally talk good stuff about them so that you could boost up their sales, and this company would totally scratch this magazine's back. I would not be so happy. And I know that game journalism on its own is a subject that I've just kind of sort of avoided, but I am under the impression that it's not going to get any better. So 10-year-old me would have asked his mom or his dad to cut the magazine subscription because I just can't believe it anymore. I can't believe it anymore. What about broken promises? Let's say 10-year-old me is super excited watching the E3 conference and he hears about this game he's being told all of these things, all of these magical mystery tour things that, Paul McCartney always sings about welcoming you to the magical mystery tour. You're hearing about these features, you're hearing about these modes, you're hearing about these amazing things they cannot deliver, and that with that hype 10-year-old me doesn't care, and then 10-year-old me finds out that the games that come out, half the stuff that they said we're gonna have is missing, DLC is riddled all over it, and suddenly the game that he was told about suddenly isn't that game anymore. No, I don't think 10-year-old me would be very happy with that aspect. Of course, I don't like the fandom, and 10-year-old me would be very intimidated. I remember actual 10-year-old me being a huge fan of fighting games. I think around that time, Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter were just getting their ways in. There's this competition between Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter 2. Always the debates, which one is better. I think Street Fighter 2 is better. I think Mortal Kombat's better. And well, I that was just between me and 2 or 3 people. Imagine 10-year-old me going into a forum declaring his love for Street Fighter 2, all of a sudden to get dump trucked by a freaking ton of Mortal Kombat fans saying how much of a suck-ass baby I am, how I should be playing a real fighting game, how I shouldn't be saying that this game isn't good because their game is so much better, how a game that is broken, and I'm not saying Mortal Kombat, I'm just saying if they were talking about another game, how I say I kind of don't like it because it's broken, and then they say, you're just a hater. Why do you got to hate it? You don't have to play it. You don't have to at all. You don't have to play it. So that's 10-year-old me being told to shut up because you are clearly a hater and you want this game to fail. Why would I want that? I'm 10 years old. I couldn't hate a little bug that bit me back then when I was 10. How am I going to hate somebody just because they like a game better than a game that I like? Or, or how could I hate something just for the sake of hating? I mean, come on, 10 years old. What? You're just getting started. You can't just have this much hate in your heart. Seriously, get your hate out of your heart. That sounds kind of religious. Trust me, it's not. but you know what? 10-year-old me is not jaded. If 10-year-old me is kind of like me now, he is very, very hopeful because there are a ton of things that are good about the gaming industry. I mean, the perspective of things like, for instance, the music in games from before, it was only just this 8-bit tune and these little orchestrations that you were limited limited with the hardware. All of a sudden now, 10-year-old me is listening to orchestras, to rock bands, to professional musicians being asked to provide their music for your game. I think 10-year-old me would love that. How about the graphics? How about you go from the Super Mario World to Super Mario Galaxy? How would that be? 10-year-old me would have freaked out, and I think later teen me freaked out a lot with Super Mario 64. Imagine if you skip all of that and get to Super Mario Galaxy. I think 10-year-old me would be just like, heavens of bliss. Amazing. Gaming heaven. I love you. What about the realism? How about the characters that you used to definitely see and you go like, oh my god, it's so cool. It's so awesome. And all of a sudden you look at them and they look completely different. How about a game that you've been playing? All of a sudden the characters look like real people, they talk, they interact like real people, their emotions, and you see them, and 10-year-old me would be scared because he's not sure if it's real people that he's playing as. What about the scope? What about the hugeness of these games? What about the gigantic worlds and tons of quests that 10-year-old me would be able to do in comparison to just playing through the level and beating it, playing through the level and beating it? Okay, you're done with a couple of levels. Now here's the final level. You're done. No. Now you don't have to end the game in an hour or 2 or 3. Now your gaming experience could go for days, even weeks, and a lot of people think that's a bad thing. I personally think that more game means more game, and scope, I absolutely would love it. How about the online factor? A lot of people don't like the online factor. I think 10-year-old me would like it because 10-year-old me was a lonely me. 10-year-old me didn't have many friends. 10-year-old me would always be at home. 10-year-old me wouldn't get invited to go anywhere, wouldn't get invited to do anything, wouldn't get called by anybody. His family was his best friends, I think, with the exception of my brother, because he was just going out everywhere. Not knocking my brother off, but he was very popular. He was Zach Morris in a Christian private school. Everybody just adored him, but nothing personal. It's just the 10-year-old me would love people to play video games with, and he did have a few people that he played video games with. It's just that I think that some of them weren't as nice as others, and personally, having this ability to be able to interact with people, I think 10-year-old me would have been super happy, would have been super elated by being able to play games multiplayer wise with people you don't even know, but at the same time you don't have to be too afraid, because 10-year-old me is probably playing the Nintendo Wii U, where the online interaction isn't so hostile. so there you go. 10-year-old me gets to enjoy it without it. Now, 10-year-old me was also a PC gamer back in the day. He's learned a lot. He's grown up. He put on his big boy pants, and now he's got a big boy computer. But 10-year-old me would have never imagined that the amount of money that his dad paid to get his first diamond 3D effects graphics card would have been the same as almost getting one of these new GeForce GTX 970s for the Win editions, and the difference that he found himself playing a game like Wolfenstein 3D. All of a sudden he's playing games like Dishonored, games like Fallout, and you get the ability to not just upgrade your computer to add more things and change your video card or change your processor or mod your case. 10-year-old me would have loved the game experience to not end. 10-year-old me would have loved to mod the game completely. You don't like the songs that keep coming up on Galaxy News Radio? You want more? GNR enhanced. Boom, 100 new songs. Boom. And 3 Dog. Bow Wow is still playing them. What about the esports scene? 10-year-old me would have begged his dad to upgrade his internet so that he could go and play League of Legends. He wanted to get a League of Legends club. Maybe he could form a League of Legends team, and he would be wrecking the lanes like a boss. Now, I'm really not that good, and I'm playing Heroes of the Storm, but 10-year-old me would have rocked that Sergeant Hammer all the way to town, released that Hyperion as James Rayner, and love becoming that Odin with Tychus Finley's character. 10-year-old me would have been elated because someone told him, even before he got to high school, that you could make a living playing video games. Imagine that. Imagine how 10-year-old me, at the time where people are telling him that video games are a waste of time, that it cuts down your social, being a social person, all of a sudden you tell them that not only could you have a good social experience online playing video games, you can make a living out of playing video games. Imagine that. Imagine how excited 10-year-old me would be. I think 10-year-old me would have shat his pants. Sign me up, Mom. I want to be a pro gamer. And that is the truth. And that is everything I have to say, or 10-year-old me would have not liked and would have liked about the current state of video games today. That's my answer. I'm gonna leave the link of the subreddit. I want you guys to tell me, what would your childhood self think of the video games today? Victaru, 10-year-old Victaru, 10-year-old Matt, 10-year-old Ann, 10-year-old Dino, 10-year-old... Oh! Bumped on the mic. 10-year-old everybody. What would your 10-year-old selves think of the gaming industry today? Please contribute to the subreddit. I'm gonna leave the link of it, and I want you all to also upvote that thing, because it's a very interesting, it's a very simple post, but at the same time, it's very deep, and it's very cool, and it's very retro, and it's very, very open to add a whole bunch of stuff. So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Fico, the not 10-year-old version of Fico. If you like this video, give it a like, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and this was my gaming mind. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out, guys.